I have a 5.3 right here, and I have a 6.2 on this side. I cannot ever find a 6.2, and the last time I was here, this truck was sold, and I guess the customer backed out of it, so we're in luck. We're gonna compare acceleration, MPG for both of these trucks. We don't want to call a battle until it's done, but we kind of know how this is gonna go. I'm thinking MPG, acceleration. Let's get started. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take it down the road. I won't reset the miles yet. This one's actually pretty warmed up, so I could reset it, but I want to do it in the same spot, and that way we have a perfect comparison. But I will say I love these higher trim levels. This one, does it have heated and cooled seats? It does. It does have heated and cooled seats. It's a little chilly today, but for some reason really hot, so I'm gonna put the cool seats on. One thing I've noticed on some of the other competitors to the Chevy Silverado is how loud the cooled seats are. Like the Ford is the loudest. Rams are pretty loud too, but this one is probably about the same as Ram. I love how like tight this truck feels too. If you don't know, this thing does have an independent front suspension across the board for Chevy rig, so if you want the best riding truck, this one may do that for you. However, you cannot do air suspension or anything like that on any trim level. Oh man, that power. Wow. Oh man, this 6.2 is probably gonna clean up today. It's probably gonna clean up today. I'm thinking it's gonna clean up. All right, so we are going to reset fuel mileage right here. All right, here we go. Am I coming? No one's coming? Oh man, we get to run through this first light without any problems. I think I'm gonna take a new route today so we don't have as many lights, because I really want to get a solid highway run to see how well it's gonna do. But so far, you can't even tell that this is a 6.2. It's so quiet. I mean, really, you can't tell it's a V8, I should say, but we're gonna see how well this thing does on fuel economy. It says on the sticker 19 on the highway, 14 in the city. So we'll get a feel for what it's gonna really do. So far, we've gone almost 2 miles and we're getting about 14.4. And I've been kind of coasting a little bit. I haven't really jumped into the RPMs yet, but I'm gonna do about 75 miles an hour on this road for probably about 3 to 5 miles. And I must say, this is a really comfortable riding rig. I love this truck. Let's go ahead and put the cruise control on. I'm at 75. Let me show you guys the RPMs here. So right at 75 miles an hour, we are running at low RPMs. Be sure to check this out when we drive the 5.3, because we're right at 1500 RPM at 75 miles an hour. That's amazing at this high of speed. So that 10 speed, and with this having that 323 gearing, it's getting the job done. Like, wow. I think you can easily get 19 on the highway if you can keep your foot out of it. Not bad at all. So here it is. This is a 6.2 liter V8. Doesn't look much different under the hood from the 5.3, I will say, but this is going to be different in terms of power. So this is going to be 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. Now that horsepower does come on at 5,600 RPMs, and the torque comes on about 4,100 RPMs, and it's going to be the same as the 5.3. So just keep that in mind. And this has made it to a 10-speed transmission versus an 8-speed on the 5.3. So this is definitely going to be a really good test. This probably could get it better fuel economy if I can keep my foot out of it, right? So we'll see how it goes. One thing I like about the big three, and that's Ram, Chevy, and Ford, is they give you a lot of different engine options. And GM is probably the more complicated one. They have 8-speed transmission, 10-speed transmission, 2.7 turbo, 5.3 V8, 6.2 V8, 3-liter diesel. I mean, there's a lot of options. Like, there's a truck for anybody. I am going to do a test, hopefully. I don't want to talk too soon because sometimes I get myself in a trick box. But I am going to be comparing a diesel 3-liter from Chevy, or from GM, I should say. I think it's going to be a GMC, comparing it to a Ford 3-liter EcoBoost, because sometimes you have to really, you know, mix up what you're looking for, because I think the diesel is something that people sleep on, and although it doesn't have as much horsepower, it has a ton of torque, and that's all you really need in a size pickup truck like this. So I'm interested to see how well it's going to do comparing those two. But overall, we're at 5 miles driven so far, 16.4. We're going up a little bit on fuel economy, but the road we're on, I guess, you know, I don't want to discount it too much. This is a hilly road. There's no wind today. A lot of my tests have been like filled with a lot of wind, so I think that's been hurting it. But yeah, right now we're at 17. It's going to go down because we're about to go up a lot of grades here in a little bit. But overall, I'll check back in when we make our next turn, and then we're going to do an acceleration test. So that's going to really bring the fuel economy down. I don't know if you guys can see it, but GM has the best, and I mean the best, heads-up display of any car. Huge display, very clear, and yeah, it's just the best. So we are at the midpoint. We're about to make the turn. We're at 17.2, so even though we lost about an MPG going up that hill, we gained it from coasting just now. But we're gonna lose all of it now because I have to get back up to 75 miles an hour. So we've gone 7.9 miles at this point. I must say, GM does, even though like their interior is not the nicest out of the bunch, this is a really, really good pickup. I absolutely love this, and it's so easy to drive. The seats are a little stiff, but I don't know, I think once you break them in, I think they'll become more comfortable than they are now. The cooled seats, they get super cold. I actually just turned them off because like my butt's cold. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get back up to speed. We'll try to take it nice and easy too. This does have the, let's see what it's called. It's called cruise braking. So if someone is going slow in front of you, it will slow you down. I don't really like those systems as much because sometimes if you're not paying attention, it'll be slowing you down and you'll be going too slow. Then you have to speed back up. So I wish there was a way that you could just, well, I guess you can. I was gonna say I wish there was a way you could cancel the system. I guess all you have to do is just, you know, hit this button here. But I don't know, sometimes when you're not paying attention, it just, yeah, it just slows you down and then you lose so much fuel economy. So let me go ahead and coast going down this hill right now at 15.7. So next time I check in, we're gonna do an acceleration test. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the numbers. So the gross vehicle weight rating for this Silverado is gonna be 7,100 pounds. The gross combined weight rating is gonna be 15,000. Rear gross ax weight rating is gonna be 3,800 pounds. Truck has a curb weight of 5,498 pounds. So that's pretty decent for a truck with this many options. And then payload is actually surprising at 1,602 pounds. As far as towing a conventional trailer, 9,100 pounds with a 910 pound tongue weight. And then gooseneck, they're saying 7,700 pounds, 1,155 pound tongue weight. Here we go. Oh my gosh. That was strong. That was really strong. That hurt the fuel economy, 15.9. So still going back up though. Still going back up. But I don't know. I can't wait to compare the acceleration. I think this is going to definitely dominate. It has more horsepower, more torque, 10-speed transmission. The transmission is, I forgot to talk about it because I don't even feel it. I think this is as good as the 8-speed. The 8-speed really disappointed me in the 2.7 liter turbo test that I did because I felt like it was always looking for the right gear. I don't know, it wasn't a good match. And I almost wondered if the 10-speed would do better behind that 2.7 liter turbo. But I'm really happy with the performance from this. This is really good. This is a solid choice if you are looking at this or the 5.3. Wow, 16.9 mpg. So we're gonna do a stop here at the stop sign, and this will be the actual reading. So 16.9 mpg, not bad at all. I would say that I was kind of expecting like in like the 15 range, like 15 and a half or so, but I'm actually really happy with the fuel economy with this truck. It's really good. Alrighty, so we're driving the 5.3. The engine's pretty much warmed up at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and reset the trip. Let me go ahead and get that ready to go actually. That way we can not hold up traffic. But man, I really like the 6.2 better. I didn't think I was gonna really notice the difference, but even at low speeds, the way that the 6.2 and that 10-speed put the power down together is so much better. So much better. I didn't think I was gonna notice a difference here. Actually, let me back up a little bit. I wanna get this exactly. I think I got it done right here. All right, so we're gonna reset. Here we go. I guess I should put it back in gear, right? All right, good. So we are off. Now this truck does have stop start. It just turned off just now actually. And the 6.2 did not. I don't know if I mentioned, but this does have a 323 rear. Same goes as the 6.2. So they have the same rear ends. And the only difference is this is a 5.3 displacement versus a 6.2, and this has an 8-speed versus a 10-speed. But we didn't stop at the light the last time, so we are doing it here. Let me see if it turns off one more time. It doesn't matter, the light just turned green, so we weren't here that long. But we're gonna go ahead and get down the road, and I'll check back in once we get on the highway. So we're running just slightly higher on the RPMs, like maybe a couple hundred more. It keeps fluctuating a little bit. Now we're about to go up a little bit of a grade here. All right, here we go. So it's like 200 RPMs over 15, so it's like 1,700 RPMs, give or take. And that 6.2 is running right at 1,500, so you're gonna get a little bit of an edge in fuel economy with those RPMs. The lower you run, obviously the better your fuel economy is gonna get. But nevertheless, 18.1 mpgs at 4.7 miles driven. So we're definitely doing better than the 6.2 already. So here are the numbers for the 5.3. So the gross vehicle weight rating on this one's gonna be 7,100 pounds. Gross combined is 15,000, just like the 6.2. Rear gross axle weight rating is gonna be 3,800 pounds. Curb weight's gonna be less because this has less options on it. And of course, with that being said, it's gonna have a higher payload capacity at 1,940 pounds. 9,600 pounds for conventional towing, 960 pounds for tongue weight. So it actually goes up a good bit here. And then gooseneck, 9,500 pounds or 1,425 pounds for tongue weight. I'm happy I'm able to really test out a truck with 10,000 miles. The transmission at lower speeds, I could feel it shifting. Now up into these higher speeds, it's as smooth as it was in the 6.2, which was brand new. It only had like 124, 126 miles on it. And this has 10,300 miles, a little bit over 10,300 miles. But nevertheless, I can't wait to test out the acceleration. I can't wait to like compare how well the 5.3 accelerates against the 6.2. I'm thinking that it's going to probably get it by 3 or 4 miles an hour, if not a little bit more, because that's a good jump in horsepower. You know, 355 versus 420. I mean, that's strong. And 10-speed transmission, that's going to obviously help put that power down too. Now, Ford and GM did work together to build the 10-speed, so that's something to take note of too. So if you drive those trucks, you know, back to back, you know, you should have a similar feel with the transmission. Alrighty, we are at the midway. I want to say we're like 17.1, 17.4, and we are like right at 18, 19 mpg. That is not bad. For both runs, I did have the AC on, the way you see it here too. I didn't mention that. And I don't think I mentioned, it is 60 degrees outside. It's a little chilly today. It's not a lot of sun, so that cloud coverage is definitely making it a little bit chillier. So this is pretty good temperature to do a test like this, because you're gonna get the best in this scenario. So we're gonna go ahead and get back up to 75. So here it is, 5.3 liter V8. It's gonna be good for 355 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. So this is made to an 8-speed transmission, and I don't know how well it's gonna do. Now, I will say, this being a used truck, it's broken in, so it's probably gonna get better fuel economy just because of that. So it definitely has a slight advantage over this Silverado with the 6.2. Wow, 19 mpg before the acceleration, which we're about to do right now. These two engines might come from the same manufacturer. They definitely put the power down differently. Now, they achieved their peak horsepower at 5,600 RPM and peak torque at 4,100 RPM. So, I don't know. I didn't feel like this one had that same grunt. It didn't have that mean like acceleration that 6.2 had, but it's still really good though. This is also an old powertrain. I can't tell you how long GM's had it. It's been for a long time, and they've done nothing to it really. I think that, you know, at one point they were the leaders, but you know, they just haven't really replaced it. I guess they feel as though the power is good and it's sufficient for what they needed to do, but it's the same story on the diesel side of things. On the HD side, you get a Duramax 6.6. It has the least amount of horsepower and torque. Well, not horsepower. It has the least amount of torque though out of the three, but the horsepower is still beating Rams. Wow. So no comparison with the fuel economy. So we just have to see what that acceleration looks like. You've already seen the acceleration though. But nevertheless, 18.3. We're about to pull in right now. This truck is broken in, so that's gonna really help with overall fuel economy too. Not bad. 18.4 at 16 miles driven. Well, there's nothing surprising in this video. It pretty much ended exactly how you would expect it to. The 6.2 probably has the acceleration, which I won't know until I edit the footage, but as you would have expected, the 5.3 did better on fuel economy. Now, I was thinking that the 6.2 was going to get like 15 and a half, like I said in the video, so it did get better than I expected. 16.9, pretty good. However, I was expecting the 5.3 to get better because it's 10,000 miles on it. You know, having higher miles, it should do better for fuel economy, but that didn't happen. But the 8-speed in this truck is really good. I'm actually happy with how it performed. However, the cake goes to the 6.2 and 10-speed. That 10-speed is amazing. Ford and GM did a really good job producing that, and I think that they're going to see some really good, you know, success stories in the future, so long as they're reliable. See you in the next video.